So this was incubator in Lourdes. Oh no, hang on, sorry, here we go, okay. Was technical. Sorry, I'll just take that from the last line. A site of incubation where incubation was technical and ritual, meaning sleep when epiphany occurred and you met the god. So this idea that you've got the very natural act of having babies or creating words, becoming technical and ritual, something repeated and made into some sort of series of specific actions that each have symbolic meaning. Meaning sleep when epiphany occurred. An epiphany is a sudden realization of something, a little bit like when everything clicks and might make sense, and it's quite inspiring. It's literally as well a meaning, a vision of God from its original language root. When an epiphany occurred and you met the God, and you've got the you here, which has not, I don't think, happened yet, and that's you've got the first direct addressing to the reader, and then the God, not a God, but the God. And the ... makes an idea that there's a sense of mystery there and a sense of continuation that we're not sure of what it might be. Hatless, groggy, shadowing myself. This is when he remembers again, he's switching in time. He's been having a lot of references to this idea of the classical world, and now he's remembering something when he was a bit older. Hatless, groggy, shadowing myself as the thurifer I was in an open-air procession in Lourdes in 56. The thurifer, and I have a picture of this on one of the documents you're going to get, is one of the people in the Catholic Mass where they will walk into the church, a senior altar server who carries the thurible, and the thurible is the metal censer or holder which a lot of incense is in, and they hold it from a chain and swing it around, and the incense, it's usually coloured white, moves throughout the church from this thurible, and the thurifer would be a job that he would have had once when he was a bit older than when he saw the doctor in his home, but still not a full grown-up, I don't think. Groggy, shadowing myself as the thurifer I was in an open-air procession in Lourdes in 56, that's 1956. When I nearly fainted from the heat and fumes. So this idea again about being overcome by just different elements in the air or in the natural world, and having a sense of being in a strong sense of reality in the real world and very clear-headed, and then being overcome by different things happening, and the sense of smell comes in again a little bit here with the heat and the fumes, like it does when he was sensing the doctor with the disinfectant smell and the warm suddy water and so on. When I nearly fainted from the heat and fumes. Again I nearly fainted as I bent to pull a bunch of grass and hallucinated. Here we've got the first time that he's aware that he's seeing things that perhaps aren't there. Whereas when he thought the doctor was literally putting these arms and legs and thick bits together to make a baby, when he really thought he saw that for real, now he's got an idea that he was actually hallucinating. To pull a bunch of grass and hallucinated Dr. Curlin at the steamed up glass. So now he's remembering hallucinating. And I imagine this would be in the scullery, yes, of the scullery window, starting in to draw with his large pink index finger dot-faced men with button spots in a straight line down their fronts, and women with dot breasts, giving them all a set of droopy sausage arms and legs that soon began to run. Now, there's quite a lot of imagery here as well. So he's aware that now he's hallucinating. Dr. Curlin, with the heat from the water, drawing into the steamed-up windows these figures of people, these dot figures, which the doctor might actually have done, but it's more of a children's fanciful idea, I think. But it's giving the impression that the doctor is possibly making prototypes or designing different sorts of people, or it's another representation of the Doctor drawing people or making people somehow, just like he was saying before that poets can bring something as powerful and meaningful as poetry into the world. Straight line down their fronts, women with dot breasts, giving them all a set of droopy sausage arms and legs that soon began to run. So that soon began to run bit is that the drips of the water will run down the window pane and spoil the images, which is what happens in such cases. But you've got that deeper other meaning as well, that he may have been bringing life to these images that he's drawn on the window, and then they will run and move and have their own agency and freedom and liberty to do things, which this Doctor brings that gift of life. So that's that section there. And then as he dipped and laved, that's washed, laved means washed, in the generous suds again, miraculum. Generous suds, you've got a little bit of personification there. Miraculum, he's got the Latin term for miracle. The baby bits all came together, swimming into his soapy, big, hygienic hands. And I myself came too, blinded with sweat, blinking and shaky in the windless night. So this is where we see, I think, that the Doctor's come to the scullery and he's actually washing this newborn baby in this suddy water in the scullery, because when babies come out in the placenta sac, they've got lots of sort of gooey, sticky bits all over them that needs to be washed off. So that's what the Doctor's actually been doing, he's finding. But the child thinks, the child in himself thinks that the Doctor's taken all these little bits and then by putting them in the water, the life-giving water, as it's been symbolised as, all of the bits come together and fit into one being, which is the baby. The baby bits all came together, swimming into his soapy, big, hygienic hands. Got quite a nice set of adjectives there. Giving a sense of power and caring and safety for this new baby. And I myself came too, out of the hallucination when he nearly passed out at Lourdes, when he was swinging the Theraphon, swinging the thurible around for the Catholic Mass. And I myself came round again, blinded with sweat, blinking and shaky in the windless light. Three. Bits of the grass I pulled, I posted off, and you've got this down up. That's a reference to further up in the poem when he was going to faint. To pull here. To pull a bunch of grass and hallucinated. So he thinks that because he was having some sort of spiritual experience at the time when he pulled some grass out of the earth, that it will have some sort of healing property or some sort of spiritual significance. So we return to that idea in the third section. Bits of the grass I pulled, I posted off to one going into chemotherapy and one who had come through. So now he was hallucinating the Doctor giving life to something as he touched the grass and pulled it from the earth. So now he's thinking that he can pass that power of life-giving or healing on. So he's posted them to a person he knows going through chemotherapy, which is the course of treatment a lot of people who have cancer have to go through, and one who had come through, and that would be come through chemotherapy successfully, I presume. I didn't want to leave the place or link up with the others. The place. Thinking about that, presumably he means Lourdes in France. He wants to stay by that healing centre, and the place, that definite article, the, makes it sound like it's the only place that a person can be healed or at peace or connected. To leave the place or link up with others. So that strange rejection of connecting and belonging with other people, but the desire to stay in the place, I presume because it has specific spiritual significance.